This is where it gets a little dicey. Hey peeps, what's poppin'? Welcome back to another episode on the Big Dane podcast. Yeah, so how was everyone's weekend? Did you enjoy this crazy heat, this little heat wave? I hope you maybe got into someone's pool to cool off, maybe a little sprinkler, or maybe even a little baby pool. Maybe your neighbors have one. I know my neighbors have one on either side of me. Well, except for Phyllis, so we don't count her. But I do like Phyllis. So, okay, I had an interesting sight that I saw when I was on a walk. And I went down Elm Street. I was picking up food at Peppercini's. And I happened to look over. And you know how they have those signs where it kind of says, like, beware of dog, or like, like there's a dog here, so maybe like the dog would bark, so like kind of like don't be alarmed, right? So this was something I literally have never seen, not in my entire life. And it said beware of the owner. And it's just like a printed out, 8.5 by 11 computer paper, right? And then it had a little, I was about to say gun emoji, but that's like completely not correct. It was just a gun like image, like not like a real gun, but like a cartoon gun, I guess you would say, like an animated gun. And I thought, what? Like, last time I checked, I'm pretty sure I'm in Conchi and not North Philly. So, yeah. So it was just like very odd. I just had never seen it before. Not that I like walk over there a lot, but I don't know. It was just so weird. And then so after I got my food, I walked back, down Elm, right? And so I went past, I passed Cerrado, and then I'm coming around the corner. So you're behind Edward Freeman's candy shop, right? And I smelled weed. And I don't know if it's just me or maybe like other people do this too. And like, I like look around to see, I'm like, is someone outside or like someone nearby smoking outside? And I don't care. Like, if you want to smoke weed, fabulous. You want to do edibles, fabulous. So none of that bothers me, but it was just, the act of smelling it. And then I'm like, I find myself looking around like left and right, like, is someone behind me smoking? Just because it's so strong, that skunky, you guys know. So I don't get to say it, right? So, anywho. So that was that, and wanted to share with you. I'm curious to see, yeah, if you guys do anything like that and kind of look around, or maybe have experienced something kind of weird on your walk. So hit me up. And today we're gonna get into a little bit of travel, some trips that I've taken. Specifically, I'm going to share with you just some interesting moments I had on a Europe trip that I did with my family. And so with my parents and then my brother and I, so just the four of us. And this was back in June of 2013. So the basis of it, it stemmed around my dad's cousin, Hardy, who lives in Germany, which is pretty cool, yeah. Do I speak German, you ask? No, I actually speak Spanish, kind of. I'm not fluent, but I can have a conversation. So yeah, I don't really know any German. Yeah. So anyway, we kind of based our trip around that. And his cousin was turning 80th. His cousin was turning 80 that year, so it was so much fun, and we hadn't seen them in such a long time. And so I'm gonna kind of give you like the play by play and feel, like, all right, like I'm on the plane with you. Yeah. So we had left. This was a Thursday night from Philly, and it was June 20th. Oh, real quick. So I like to keep a journal when I go on trips. I think I must have started this when I was 16 and did that first like real experience, I would say, over to Europe. I had been to Germany when I was very little, but don't really remember. So obviously, like when I'm like 2 years old, I'm not writing down shit. So I started this habit back when I was 16, and I really enjoyed doing it because when I was coming up with the episode, I started to reread what I had written on this trip, and like, you don't realize how much of like the little details that you forget. And it's just kind of fun to like hear like, oh, there was a spider in there, or like you had to call the police, like random shit. So, I hope you guys do that too. Or if you don't, I kind of encourage it because I think it's just a cool idea to capture everything. So anyway, we get there and we arrive, everything's fabulous, and I won't give you like every single detail because this episode would be like an hour, and that's not meant for you. So Saturday, because Friday we don't really count, we were just like catching up on sleep and trying to just get everything together. Saturday we surprised Hardy, and he was so excited and thrilled. We were at his house, and it was just so fun to be a part of that because it's not like we see them, obviously, every other weekend like we do with our friends and close family here. And it was just such a special moment. And we had a little get together. It was like their neighbors and then just a couple of us hanging out in the back, and they had a little pig roast and so much delicious food. And we even had this, I'm gonna have to report back to you guys, but it was this, I think it was like some sort of schnapps that we had, and everyone was just like drinking and passing around, and it had some like ship on it, like a, not a sailboat, but like a, just like a ship. And oh gosh, shoot. But I'll have to tell you guys about it later. So, hey. But everyone was just passing around, having a good time. I learned how to eat the white sausage that they have, with it being everyone obviously German. There's going to be so many different kinds of meats and such. And so the white sausage, if you ever had it, it's the veal sausage. And I learned to have it and eat it with a knife and fork. And I say that because it being sausage and having like the casing, right, you kind of peel it off so you don't eat that part. So but some people eat it different ways, but that was like one way that they showed me, which was kind of interesting. So I'm like, oh my god, I'm like an expert now. Meanwhile, over here in America, we're like, fuck this, and we're just gonna do a handheld shit and just put the sausage on a roll. You know what I'm saying? Maybe an Amoroso roll, maybe the Conchi Bakery roll. Shout out. So it was all great fun. Sunday now, it was June 23rd. So this was actually like the real birthday bash. And here we thought, I'm like, oh, I thought this was the birthday, the little barbecue, right? And he had this huge blowout. It was more in the countryside. Oh, forgive me. I didn't even tell you guys where exactly in Germany. So where we were, it was more on the western side of Germany. So like kind of near the Netherlands and Belgium. So just north of Dusseldorf, and just, near, right around there near Duisburg. So that's where my dad's cousin lives. And we were just at this like country stable, and it was so fun. Everything was outside, and excuse me, I just burped. I'm drinking beer. Um And news to me that day, now, it's getting later. They're starting to get the desserts out and such. And people are going around giving speeches. Didn't my dad go up there? I'm like, did he tell anyone this? Here, I think he only told my mom. I was like totally clueless. And he gave a speech in German. So I had obviously no idea what he was saying. Like, can you translate for us? Do you have an English speech that you could maybe just shout out real quick? A little summary, some sort of summary, you know what I'm saying? And so my godfather, he speaks German, so he helped my dad apparently write the speech. So yeah, so it was interesting, and I know he was like so nervous, but everyone absolutely loved it because I feel like everyone in Europe kind of like looks at Americans like, what the fuck are you guys doing? You guys know one language and you try to learn a second language, so you know what I mean? So everyone over there is on their third language. So I think that was really nice that my dad did that, and it was very cool. And then after that, we left for Brussels. So we had a rental car and we drove over. This rental car, oh my gosh, we could barely fit any of our luggage. Mind you, my parents, they were staying about think they stayed 2 weeks, and my brother and I, the whole time we only stayed 10 days. I had just gotten a job, and then my brother just had graduated pharmacy school. Bravo! So, I just couldn't take that much time off. And yeah, as crazy as that sounds, like, why can't I just take as much time as I want and be a European? So, and then we also had like a budget too, like, with Scott just coming out of, pharmacy school and not having any money, with me just starting a job basically and not having any money, you can see where this is going. So anyway, we didn't pack very much. Scott had a backpack. I had a small, like very small suitcase. Meanwhile, my parents, these guys, they freaking bring along their ginormous American suitcases. I do not recommend anyone to do that, even if you're staying there for 2 weeks. If you're trying to bop around, it's just not ideal. Because then you think about like all the other costs involved, right? And then, once you check out of somewhere, if you still have like the entire day until like your flight or train or whatever, you don't want to lug that around, right? So just keep that in mind. A little travel tip for you if you haven't done anything extensive. So yeah, so we were just on our way and just kind of getting settled. So then by this time it was Monday the 24th of June. And so my brother and I, we stayed in a separate place with my parents. And since we were like on our own budget, right? And we just had the best coffee. Oh my gosh. Like, sometimes around here, maybe you want to add a little sugar, maybe some cream, a little half and half. I did not put anything in it. I was like, what did I even order? But it was absolutely delicious. And we just kind of did some sightseeing. We did a little bus tour. And I felt like a half an hour went by because we were trying to figure out, like, where the hell is this bus? Like, this woman told us, like, from my parents' hotel, like, oh, yeah, it's, like, by the, the train station, right? So we're, like, looking around for the bus to, like, come and arrive and whatever, and still didn't see it. And I'm like, what? Like, what are we doing? And then it finally arrives. We're like, okay, here it is. Here we are. Mind you, it was kind of, I guess in general with the trip, besides Italy, which I'll get into in a little bit, it was oddly chillier for that time with Germany and Brussels. So it was definitely on the chillier side. When we got onto the bus, it was kind of a little misty. So I'm like literally holding an umbrella for Scott and I, like, hey, what's up? Like, let's just sightsee everything from the bus. But it was still a lot of fun. You know, it's all about the experience, right? And like, just because the weather sucks, like, doesn't mean like it's gonna be a shitty time, right? So you got to make the best of it. Um, One part I absolutely enjoyed was the New House chocolate. Their chocolate is so good. I was like, I got so many different kinds. I was just like obsessed, and I brought some back, I remember. And so, interestingly, it was a pharmacy to start out with way back in the day. And Mr. Newhouse bought this pharmacy. And what he did was cover his medicines with a little bit, um, a layer of chocolate. Yeah. Isn't that cool? It's like, what am I eating? M&Ms, right? Maybe Advil all of a sudden is M&Ms. I don't know. So that was just amazing. Um, and then after that, so now it's Tuesday, right? So June 25th, 2013, guys. 7 years ago. I can't get over that. Um, so this is when my brother and I truly departed now from our parents, and our plan now was to kind of explore, do our own thing, and then reconvene with them back in Germany, because there was another relative we had never met. Yeah. So keep listening because I'll tell you guys about it. So we did a little trip to Italy. We were doing Milan, and then we were going to do Venice. Okay. So Milan, this is where it gets a little dicey. So, we're leaving Belgium, we're leaving Brussels, right? And we took the metro, and we were going to take the bus to get to the airport. So we get there, and then not to the airport, but just getting off the metro there at the station. And this guy asked us if we were going to the Charleroi airport. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but I think so. And we're like, yeah. And like Scott and I were looking at each other like, do we trust this guy? Like, are we gonna get kidnapped? Because nothing was labeled on this van. It's just like a white van. I kid you not. And I mean, given that I'm with my brother, I feel safe. So, plus this guy is asking other people to get in the van, right? So, I don't know. For some reason, as oddly as it sounds, like I think I feel more comfortable knowing that other people are getting in it and not that, it's just Scott and I. So he waited a little bit because he wanted to load up the van, right? So we get in. So now we're driving. Everything's cool. Then the driver like yells out to his buddy that he sees like across the way, like as we're driving, is literally yelling out the window. I'm like, oh my God, what is going on? Right? Here, and they're speaking, I don't know, Flemish, French, whatever. So I have no idea, but I imagine the conversation was like, yeah, so you want to pull over? We'll do a little swap. You can give me the drugs, and then just take these guys to the cell, and we'll just execute them. So we end up, yeah, switching cars, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like it was just so strange. Somehow I still like kind of felt okay, but then I thought, oh my God, we're gonna die. We're getting kidnapped. They're gonna kill us. This is gonna be it. And my parents are gonna freak the fuck out because we haven't seen them yet again. Not since, we literally just left, and now they're gonna be wondering. It's gonna be this whole thing. And luckily, because I'm telling you the story, I'm still here, so everything was fine. But it was a little scary, not gonna lie. So, just be smart, see, look at your surroundings, see who you're going with. I would say if this guy was only taking Scott and I'd be like, probably not. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna put myself in that situation. So, holy shit, right? So then we get to the airport. We did Ryanair as per usual. If you guys are familiar with Ryanair at all of their flights are super cheap. But what they get you at, and we learned from this, and I don't think I realized this before because last time I used it was in Spain when I studied abroad, and I think some of the girls kind of set it up, so I actually wasn't involved. So when you check in, you have to do it at least 4 hours prior. And like, we didn't realize you had to do it then. And here we got charged like a good amount. And I don't remember what it was, but we're like, fuck. Because we thought we were saving. And then all of a sudden we get a charge. And we're like, shit, this fucking sucks. But, we made our way. Like, now we're in Milan. It's Wednesday. What's up? Get to the train station. We realized we had to take a metro or something to get to our hotel. So we're like, all right, let's just hop on. So we get on and we're like looking around for like, someone to take our ticket. Like, kind of like SEPTA when someone comes around for your ticket. Why would we think that? I don't know. So, because we're American. And there was no one around. So, luckily, we weren't on there for that long and just like didn't pay anything. And we thought, I'm like, I don't think this is right. But somehow we got on. um, so, Milan was okay. I mean, I would recommend like not staying there that long, and we weren't there that long, maybe like a day and a half or something like that. And is it cool because it's the fashion capital? Absolutely. Like, so many people were dressed so nicely, it was insane. But it was expensive, so you got to prepare for that. We just kind of explored, saw some statues, saw Leonardo da Vinci. We went through this cool castle that was pretty amazing. It was all outside. And before you know it, then we had to just hop on the train to get to Venice. So, and Venice, I think, was one of my favorites. That was when, like, well, I'll say this, when we got to Italy, that was when we were really feeling like the nice weather, coming out of that like icky weather in Germany and Belgium, and it was chilly. Like, I was literally wearing like jeans. Well, actually, it's a lie. I don't think I packed jeans because I'm like, oh, it's gonna be fine. So I just had cardigans and kind of like kept myself warm that way. And so now in Milan, I was able to wear like tank tops, to like, cool off a bit and feel comfortable. But Venice was so fun. We literally walked everywhere. And I'll say this for like, the entire trip, like since we were trying to keep it to, a budget, like we really didn't spend that extra money on going inside museums and things like that. I thought, you know what, let's spend it on other things that we're going to enjoy, like maybe the food, that we can't get back here. Maybe a little, I always like to get like some sort of jewelry to bring back that's like just a little different, like something that I cannot get here. In Venice, that's where I did it. And I got these very cool glass blown earrings. And I'm not saying this to brag at all, but every time I wear them, I kid you not, a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, like, where did you get your earrings? And I'm like, oh, well, I got them in Venice. No, I don't say it like that, but you know what I'm saying. But yeah, do you ever have something like that where something you wear or something you bought and maybe you didn't think that you would get so many compliments from like buying this, but you do? And yeah, so it's just like one of those things. So anyway, like I got gelato there. I got the pistachio gelato. Oh my gosh. Like it was just like, oh my God, get it in my mouth. Yeah, so you can just take that how you want it. But no, it was so good. I got it twice because it was that good. But it's so nice getting it there because of the portion size. Like, I don't need like five fucking scoops of ice cream, right? You're just giving me diabetes right there. So I just give me a bite and it's gonna be fine. So they had these like little, a little cone, a little, literally one scoop, and it fits just nicely and it's perfect. And that's how everyone's like thin over there and whatever, because they don't go to town on dessert and do like everything but the kitchen sink. We're a little insane over here, but hey, YOLO, I guess. So I'll try to speed this up for you guys a little quickly. I can't believe I've been talking for 25 minutes already and I still have a lot to tell you. So I'm going to try to cut it down. So Venice was so cool. We were going to do like one of the gondola rides, but like one, it was so expensive, and two, people kept asking us like if we were a couple. I'm like, oh my god, this is so annoying. And I'm like, I don't really want to do this with my brother, right? So we just ditched that and just kind of explored. But we literally walked all over. It was insane. And oh, and when we got there, I forgot to mention, when we got there, we could not find our hostel. We had to download download buy Wi-Fi real quick and like literally navigate our way there. And I was like, here. And we're like, where the fuck is it? We're looking around, and here it was just like hidden in this like behind this. It was like on a corner, but because the wall was like so high up, like you really couldn't see anything like what was behind it. And then we realized, like, this has to be it. Like, I don't know. So we were trying to figure out like a way to get in, and it was kind of cool. We just had our own spot. They gave us a key. We had our own room, and like you could still like mingle throughout the house, and then the bathrooms were still open to use and such. So it was kind of cool experience. So it was nice, like we had our own space, but at the same time like we could use the kitchen openly and whatever. And they actually, oh my gosh, they had a percolator, and Scott made some coffee with that. So I was like, I've never even seen one of these. So before you know it, now it's like we're leaving, and we took an overnight train. This was like late at night, I want to say, and we took the overnight train to like back to Germany so we can like get back with our parents and then meet our other cousin Walter. So that was cool because I had never met him before or his family. So we get on the train, and here another lesson learned. So we thought like when we bought the ticket for the overnight train, it literally had a picture of, someone like reclining back in their chair. We're like, oh, this works. Like we can just like recline and like go to sleep, right? Nope. So these were just like literally seats, kind of like a seat, facing each other, kind of like a booth almost. So if you like remove the table, if you can picture that. And we shared it with another couple. Other couple was so cool, Anna and Valentine, and they were locals from Munich, and we were on our way to Munich. So we shared beer with them, we drank, had a good time, but I did not sleep. I could not sleep. Like, how am I going to sleep upright? Like, who? No, right? So we got to Munich like 6 a.m. in the morning. Had literally like the majority of the day, I would say, because we just like did a quick hit and explored, saw all these cool vendors. We end up eating like before we got back on the train the same day. So this was Friday now. And we ate at this beer garden. We're like, wow, this is like, because, you have your beer gardens around here in Philly and the pop-ups and whatever. But, this was like a true beer garden. And it was just so much fun. And I got a Radler. So that's like the lemon and beer. And then we had to hop back on another train to go up to Cologne to meet with my parents for dinner, as well as Walter and his family. So I felt so disgusting. Like, dude, we haven't showered since fucking when we left Venice. And we had, I don't even remember what the hell did we have. We had some sort of like wipes. And nowadays I feel like there's so many more options now, but like we literally like took wipes and just kind of like did the pits and all the other areas if you can imagine. But it was just a little disgusting. But we did it. Yeah, we did it. And we met my parents for dinner, had an amazing time in Cologne there. And we got to keep a little souvenir. It was like a little beer glass. It's so cute. I'll have to take a picture and share it with you guys. Because my dad was even asking that, like, basically, like, oh, like, do you have any souvenirs that we can, like, buy after dinner? And basically ooh, excuse me. Let me take a sip. And basically the waiter said that, you know, I won't look and just take it. So my dad was able to grab like 3 or 4 for my family, and I still have them to this day, but you just have to be very like careful with them because they're so delicate. So it was like a nice memory, and yeah, we got to just the rest of the time there. So that was like, so now it's like Saturday, 29th, and we just hung out with Walters and his family and try to get to know them, and it was just a beautiful time. And they were out in the countryside there, and yeah, it's just, I wish we could see them more often. I also, if I know German, like that would be even more amazing. But, the reason why I took Spanish is that because it was going to be, a popular, second language here. So that's the main reason. It's not like all of a sudden German's going to be popular in the States. No. And I think it would be different too if maybe my cousins lived here, where I could speak German and learn it, right? So, various factors, but it was a little tough, when we were with Walter, because he doesn't speak any English, and same with Hardy. But both of the kids on each side, for them do for the most part, and they, especially Norma, so that's Hardy's daughter, and his other daughter Corinna, and his wife Ushi. She's pretty good, but I'd say the daughters are like the absolute best at speaking English. And I don't know, in a way it's like you almost feel like an idiot, like how do I not know my cousin's language? When you really put into that perspective and really think about it, it's like a bummer. But it is what it is. We have different lives, we live in different countries and in part of the world, and I think, to a certain point, you have to accept it. And sure, like you can learn with like Duolingo and whatnot. But I think to really learn a language, you have to be immersed in it. And I really enjoyed that when I did the study abroad in Spain to learn Spanish. So yeah, so I mean that was my trip. I was trying to really keep it to, a minimum for you guys, and it was just an awesome time. It was nice to do a trip with my family, and then also have that time with my brother too, because as adults we haven't really had something like that to experience, and to do that together abroad was like truly an amazing experience. And I definitely recommend, if you have any siblings or to do that and experience together. So I hope you enjoyed the episode, and as always, subscribe, listen, tell all of your friends, and of course you have Spotify to listen on, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. If you want some, interesting content, that's my coffee page, which looks like Ko-fi, but it's a little coffee cup, as you know. And please leave a review. I'd love to hear your feedback. Seriously. If you have any ideas for future topics, shoot them my way. I will review them and get back to you as soon as I can. And yeah, leave a review on iTunes or Apple Podcasts, whichever one. It's all the same. And I can't wait for the next episode. So have a great week, everyone. Bye.